All right, today we have a very special guest.
Yes.
You may know him as the writer and director of A Way Out and the man with an unfiltered opinion. Here he is, Josef.
Josef!
There he is.
Hey!
Hello.
How's it going?
Unfiltered guy is over here.
Thank you so much for coming on our little show, man.
I'm just being me. That's the thing, you know.
There
It's
it
like
is.
when people ask me something, I just say what comes to my heart. Pretty much.
Perfect.
I love that, and
Yeah.
quite honestly, we need more of that in the real world. Just
Yeah.
say how you feel.
Anybody can
Yeah.
be coached with like a PR director or anything like
Yeah.
that. It's just more fun to have a conversation and
Yeah.
just talk.
There's
like,
I mean, even if I work with these, probably nobody tells me what to do, what to say, nothing. I just say what I want to say, pretty much. I'm honest about what I think about. I think I don't think too much of what people think of me. I mean, you can love me, you can hate me, but you can't take away my passion.
that's
There we
absolutely
go.
true, man. And honestly, like
Yes.
it completely shows through in any interview you've done. We were just talking about like Malik had mentioned before we started shooting this. Like we watched a bunch of your interviews, and because we started playing A Way Out, and like when you do these interviews for that game, it's crazy how passionate you are and how much you care about this piece of art that you've made. And it truly is that. Like it's
Yeah.
such a good game.
Such a good game. You should be very proud. You and the team should be very proud.
I'm super proud, man. I mean, the reaction from the people has been insane. It's been so nice. Like we've seen some play when they react. So cool to see. And you know this in your heart, deep in your heart, what you have. You know, it's like I never had a doubt in my mind that A Way Out was a great game. And no one can convince me otherwise. Even if the people would think that the game sucked, I would still know it's a good game. Maybe
really
it's too early.
Yeah.
You know?
I love it, man. I mean, like honestly,
Yeah.
I think that's great.
And I think it turned out well. So I think, everybody is, you proved everybody wrong.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
they thought it was terrible.
Exactly,
They
man.
proved
So
everybody
for the viewers at home that have no idea what this game is about, can you give a quick description of A Way Out?
Yeah, so A Way Out is a story-based co-op game played only in split screen. So you play as these two characters, Leo and Vincent, and you start out in a prison and then continues from that pretty much. So it's all about building like playing a story together. It's in a way a new kind of genre, like experiencing a story together. So normally story games are mostly single player, or they are single player, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's inspired some pretty like the unique features of this game is you mentioned it was the constant split screen, which I think was such a unique idea, but it really lends itself to great storytelling.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been playing it quite often, and it really brings a unique dynamic to see what the other player is doing and hear
Constantly.
the conversations that they're having
Yes.
at the same time. It's really fascinating. What inspired that?
Well, the inspiration of that, I mean, everything came to me when, like, me and a friend, like, trying to find a game that wasn't just like a drop out co-op, which I don't have anything against, but I just felt something that, like, when you look at a movie, you experience a story together. I just think that why can't you do it in a game as well? I mean, I know many people like play story-based game together, but they like share the controller. But why not play it together? And that was pretty much the start of it. But that was also the hard part. Like, how do you tell two stories at the same time, keep the players focused, interested, and also this is a kind of game that hasn't really been done like this before. It's like designed to be split screen from day one. This was nothing that was an add-on. And every time people said to me, well, you're gonna lose a lot of sales if you don't have single player, but I don't care. You just go with it, believe it, and just do it. You know, that's my way. Like, if I believe in something, I just don't stop. You know.
Yeah. Well, you committed to the
And
art.
I believe. Sorry.
You committed to the art of the game. Like you kept that. Like yeah.
Like you just have to keep focused on what you're doing and just go with it. Like I would never change anything. It's the same thing with this, like when we sell the game that you only need to buy one copy and your friend can download and play with you for free. That's the same thing, because for me it was a logic thing. Like, if you have experience in your couch, you're playing together, it shouldn't cost more if you want to play online with your friend. And that also people like warn me, like, yeah, you're gonna lose a lot of, like, I don't know, money, but I don't care really. Like, for me, it's important. This is what it's gonna be. This is what we're gonna do. You have to stick with it. You can't just you can't adapt too much, man. You can't adapt too much.
I love that. I mean, honestly, we love that, and I think that was like one of the most well-received features, at least on our show. Like our audience, where we were telling them, like, you only have to buy one copy.
Yeah.
People were going crazy. Like, such a nice touch.
Yeah, it's great. And on the point of sales, the game has done incredibly well. So it turns out it doesn't matter whether you have to buy multiple copies. If you make a really good game, people will buy it and people will talk about it. And so it's just amazing. Now, so
I just hope we see more kind of games like this. I really hope this inspires other developers who might think, oh, co-op only game, maybe that's not going to work. Now we have an evidence that it actually does. So I would love to play more of these kind of games where you play a story together, which is, again, very natural, because you look at a movie, you experience a story together. Why not a game?
Yeah,
I mean, there's so many things to explore from a storytelling perspective. This is only the beginning. You have to understand one thing with The Way Out, you know, the tension, the sales, everything. It's kind of crazy. You have to understand, we're 40 developers and no outsourcing. 40 developers with a game like this with over like 20,000 animations, crazy. And with these 40 developers, over 70% of them, 70% were interns. It's interns. There's not.
Wow.
What we have put together here is nothing more than insane.
Yeah.
Like if you look, like even that we were compared to AAA titles is crazy. So you have to understand, like, we have done something truly quite insane, that we are selling like this and like people are loving it. It's crazy. I mean, it's like boom. But now all these interns have become true kick-ass developers. So the next game gonna be even better.
Oh
Awesome.
man, that's
so
awesome.
good. You guys are pioneers in the space. It's really awesome
Absolutely,
to see.
absolutely.
Now, obviously, people are playing the game together. We talked about the split screen. Have you heard any great stories about two people playing the game together? Any crazy stories like that?
You know, we've been getting so much fan mails. It's so crazy. Like, I didn't like. Some people got really emotionally touched. I mean, some people were pissed off at me because when someone like, fuck you, Joseph, my girlfriend's not talking to me anymore. Like that. It's not good reaction as well. But we also have like fans from like, I know one that touched me really, really nice. There was actually a father and a son that played this and really connected well. And like, they were both crying in the end. And he really said to me that this brought us together as a father and child. And that was like very touching. I'm like, oh shit, this is really, you know, being an extra I didn't actually accept, waited for. I don't know the word in English. Yeah, sorry, my English. But
no, it's okay.
But those kind of scenes, it's super, like, people are getting super emotional about this, and it's crazy because my last, if you compare Brothers to this, like people can think the game is great, but some people think of this game more than that. It's like really touched them in a way that's quite unique, and that's super cool to see, you know,
absolutely,
and to hear about.
And you
but
mentioned,
actually, to be honest with you, I'm focused on the next one right now. So for me, like, this game is done now. It's the next thing, you know.
Yeah. Well, I think that's great. Like, honestly, I'm excited to see what you have to do next. Like, what comes out of your team next, because Brothers was great, and so was A Way Out.
Yeah.
I did want to take a moment because I think it's cool that you're getting this fan mail about how emotional the game makes you. One of the things, like, as someone who's been a gamer his whole life, like, it's so cool to see, you go to the movies and you can get that emotional connection with, like, who you go with, who you see the movie with. But now that we're getting games that have that quality of storytelling, to experience that with each other, like, I think that truly can make for an emotional moment, and like really connect with someone else at that level. I think is really cool.
Absolutely. And so kind of off that question.
It's super cool, and I hope there comes more similar games like this. I really hope so, because I really think, like, you know, I really want to play more games like this.
Yeah. Well, based off the success, I can't imagine we're not going to see more games like this. But kind of off of Ethan's question, you were obviously involved with film before. How did your opinion change after you started moving into games of video games? I know video games obviously now have robust stories, like we mentioned. Have you seen a shift in opinion of video games as a form of art?
For me, video games are totally a form of art. I mean, it's not. It's like, I can't even, like, you know, for me, that there's no question about it. The one thing that the change has been is that I understand that making video games is way harder than making movies. I've done like maybe 6 features and around 50 shorts and a lot of commercials and everything. And the reason why it's so much harder to make games is because the interactive aspect of making games, because it's almost like, a good comparison is that you have your audience on a movie set and they're running around, touching your actors, playing with your camera. You have to, like, you know, like, how do you tell a story? How do you pace a story? Because you don't have the same control when you make a game as you make a movie. And it's also like video games are changing all the time. You always want to do something new, you want to do something different, you want to push the limit of what's possible or what's not possible, which makes it very hard from a production perspective to count and calculate what things will take and stuff like that. So movies have had way longer time to predict this and to learn about this, but in games it's way harder. But I truly love making games, and I think it's a future of storytelling. Definitely is.
Nice,
Man.
nice.
Yeah.
So any new ideas? I actually, honestly, would love if you made a game about us, but that's just
Think about it. Think about it.
But yeah,
right here.
But yeah,
You actually look like two cool game characters, so why not? Who knows? You'll probably end up in the next game.
That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said
Honestly,
to me, Joseph. That was
Yeah,
that
man,
was
no problem.
that would be fantastic.
We'll
So
see. I might figure something out for you. It would be
great.
cool.
Great. That's awesome. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. So for your future games, do you think you'll stick with a more of a cooperative experience? I imagine you would, but there's so many different things you can do with games that the world is your oyster, as they say.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, we just started with the next for the like 1 or 2 months, so we were very, very early, but I'm already like super excited, like really, like it's like, I don't know, like I just feel like what we have now is gonna blow your mind. I mean, I know I'm like this, I was excited, but it's gonna be very different in many ways from A Way Out, but you will see the similarities from Brothers, A Way Out, and the new game. But just keep your eyes out, and I'm already excited to go up on stage and talk about this. If someone lets me go up on stage, I think they will.
You can do it on our show.
Yeah.
You can do it on our show.
Our show at least. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
The stakes have never been lower.
Well, come on. That show is great. So we want to we're kind of wrapping up. We want to end on some of your inspirations. What kind of inspired you to go into the arts, to kind of make games, make movies, just be in this sort of creative spot that you're in right now?
Well, the thing what has driven me all the time, will always thrive me, is that to push the creative boundaries forward for games. Because I truly believe, since I was a young kid that started playing, I mean, when I say I love games, it's like an understatement. I love it so much, and I can't just. It's almost like falling in love when you play a new game. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like I'm really looking forward for playing, for instance, like God of War right now. Like you feel this. It's almost like fun when you play a game that you really love. This is what actually inspires me a lot, and to keep pushing and to keep like, what can you do more? It's also so exciting from a storytelling perspective. Like the things you can do in game, the things you can tell a story in an interactive way. There's so much exciting stuff, and there's so much unexplored stuff, and that's what keeps me like awake at night sometimes. It's really like I can't control it. It's just like it's really there. And sometimes it could be hard because it won't release me, because I really like am so passionate about it. It's hard to let go. But that's also, it's almost like when you fall in love every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, completely, man. But honestly, like, don't lose that passion.
Maybe that's nothing my girlfriend wants to hear about. But anyway.
Honestly, no, it's great. Like, it shows through in your games. I don't think your games would have been as successful as they are if you weren't as passionate as you are. Like, honestly, that's just the way it is.
You can see it in
and I wouldn't be able to go to work. You have to understand, like, nothing would have changed what A Way Out was from the beginning. Because A Way Out, a lot of people had very, like, skeptic opinion about it in the beginning, but that would not change for Endo. If someone told me like you'll make $100 million more if you made single player also, I would say no. That's the vision. That's always going to go. That would always be what Hazelight is about, and what I work with will always be what the vision is about. Even if like nobody likes it or whatever, it's going to be that you have to keep it and stick with it.
That's awesome.
It's with the heart, man. Making games with your heart. That's what it's about.
I love it,
man.
Josef, thank you so much. This has been a real pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, your game is fantastic, and personally, you're pretty inspiring for people in the gaming industry or people just who just love art, honestly.
Yeah. Cool, man. Thank you. I really appreciate it. See you later. Maybe in the next game.
Yes, we'll hold you to that. Thanks again, Josef. You've been a pleasure.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank
totally.
you.
Let's kick it back to the live show.